crispy.
What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Figures in Action. And this is part 2 of the Detolf, the IKEA Detolf build. This is part 2. So the last video was part 1. Reason being that I don't want to make these videos like 30 minutes long. I'd rather have them between 12 and 15 minutes each. So yeah, if I would have kept recording, it would have been a long video. So this is level number 3. This is actually my favorite level. This is the first level I really started working on. I guess I started working on the base, like the first one, like number 1, first and foremost. But then when I really got into it, this was the level I went for. So again, the idea here was to create like a destroy type building and then make it in a way where you can still display some figures and kind of use it for that purpose, specifically because he wanted it inside of an IKEA Detolf. So this was actually made with real hardwood, well, hobby wood, but you know, just it would be the hardwood floor if it was a regular scaled building. But this is hobby wood. The great thing about it's funny because I had a friend of mine had bought me. I've mentioned this before. Had bought me. Had went into like I think it was like not a thrift store, but like one of those stores. I guess you'd call it a thrift store, but it's more for appliances and things like that, where people, Helping Hands of America or something like that, where people break stuff in and they donate it, and then they in turn sell it forward, and then they take that money and they, you know, as a nonprofit organization. So she had gotten me like a box of stuff, and one of the things that included was an entire just one sheet of wood. But I had used it in other projects, so this was, I had a small piece left, but not enough that would have covered like all the way to the back there. So I had to just kind of cut it short, which is great because then I decided to just kind of put like a rug type deal back there. And then what I did is I said, you know what, let's rip up this this wood and give it that effect as if it's you know, and I just noticed that a little bit of paint showing. Luckily enough, I have a little brush here. Y'all gonna see this in action. See, with a little paint showing there. And then what I did is I had a little black on this brush because I was painting the base of it. And at this point, you can just, if you see a little bit of pink, you can just kind of go in with a dry brush of a darker color, and for the most part, kind of cover it up. So that worked out. All right, back to discussing this. So just decided to kind of lay the wood down and see how much I had left. And I think it was even, I don't think it even extended here all the way. I think the piece was just like up to here. So I was like, perfect. Let me just make it so that as I'm tearing it up, the wood is fitting in there. And then you're giving, you're getting that look of real wood, which is great. And then what I did is I went underneath and just kind of made it look as realistic as I could in terms of what the underneath of hardwood floors generally may look like. Mind you, this is not cut all the way to the back. It's only to a certain level so you can see it. And then I just put some wiring out to kind of give that extra realism. And then all these pieces just and let me take one room out of here. All these pieces are just bricks that I glued on. So everything here is permanent. And then what I did is I took, I don't have it here, but I took some, that dusting you see or whatever. I kind of glued stuff on this. Some of it is gonna fall off eventually. Some of it will stay on, and it was glued, so there should be a look there once it kind of rubs off. I'm gonna try my very best to not have it rub off, like kind of pack it in a way where when the client gets it, it'll still kind of have this look, and that's just kind of the dust from the cement, just shattering or what have you. And so, like I said, everything here is glued down. I did create an extra baggie of like the pieces that got torn out. So the client's going to be able to kind of put those wherever he wants. And they're not permanent, but even little, like little bricks here and there, like just depending on what look he's looking for. So I definitely have that for him. And so this was created. This is all balsa wood. This is actually foam. The door's balsa wood. And just went with a little bit look, excuse me, a little different look than the lower level, which was more of just a one-piece wall. I wanted to kind of give it a little more in terms of just more detail, I guess. So I kind of did this bottom part there. And because this was the most open part of the dial in terms of levels 1, 2, and 3, Definitely went in and put in a lot of extra work in here. The window up there is not as big as the window on level 2 because the display is here. You don't necessarily need a window to look into it, but you know, you still got that look of the window, and that's what it would look like on the other side. And these are just prefab windows. These are prefab windows. This is something I created from scratch. Alright, so this is level number 3, and we'll go on to the very last level right now. And this is the last level. This is level number 4. This is just like an open, I guess, rooftop type ending, I guess. I mean, I wasn't sure. It's funny because when the client first came to me and he had the idea of what he wanted to do, I wasn't sure how I was going to approach the whole thing. I guess at the end I decided at the very top, because there's still, the Detolf is still about that tall. So I left plenty of space, but I figured that you can do different things with a Detolf. You can put a suction cups and put a hanging, a Spider-Man kind of hanging from his webs or swinging through or what have you. So I just wanted to make sure that the rooftop, kind of just gave him a little more flexibility in terms of displaying more stuff. Definitely kept that consistent with the destroyed section there, and then some of the rubble just kind of blowing onto the floor there. But I definitely like the way this came out. Added a little bit of just some extras here, and so just to give it that look when you look at it like from the face front. Or when you front face it. And then this chimney was pretty cool. Actually, this chimney is 2 pieces of foam, as you can see there. And then I was able to put spackling in it to kind of hide the seam. And I thought it came out pretty good. I was like, man, you can barely tell that seam. You can't see it at all. I'm thinking about putting a little bit of smoke or something, not smoke, but like some cotton or something to give it the smoke effect. But this is a magnetized piece, which is great. And it's just, this little back piece here comes off as well. The idea is that when you see the doors, the idea is because Detolfs aren't, they're not big spaces. So the imagination here is if you go through a door, you continue into the rest of the apartment. And the idea here became, instead of making it a wall up here, I made it a shorter wall to pretend that you could just hop over this and this more of a rooftop. So that was kind of the idea behind that particular wall. And everything else was kind of made in a certain height to make sure that that I was about to call them the players, that the action figures weren't kind of like looking, or I guess I didn't want the wall to be too tall. I didn't want the wall to like reach the character's chest where they can barely see over it. And I also think that when you display it, it's a good height for display. So yeah, man, this is this is the final piece, and I am about to go next door, or not next door, going to the apartment. My homeboy has a Detolf over there that's a lot emptier than mine is, so we're gonna empty out his Detolf. I'm gonna place these this dio into the Detolf and then record it. That'll be the final piece, and this will be complete. Alright, I'll be back, y'all. Alright, and we're back, and this is what it looks like inside of the IKEA Detolf. So my original plan when I built this, it went wrong. It went wrong. So I didn't want to have this middle glass here. I wanted this glass to not be there. The problem is that I didn't take into account the piping. So the piping which holds the glass up, I didn't measure around it. And the issue now is that if I wanted to lay the dial right on top of the other dial, it's just not going to work. So what it creates is just a little more work for me. I just have to paint. You can kind of see the pink peeping through in some spots or whatever. So I just have to paint the tops, which is pretty easy. I'm still on target to ship this out either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. But yeah, this is what it looks like, man. So it doesn't look bad at all. First time, it obviously takes a little bit away because it's glass and there's glare or whatever. But the premise is just having a setup inside of a Detolf. In terms of just that premise, that definitely works. But as I had explained in the earlier videos, I mean, this is something where you're getting 3 out of the 4 views. So you're not getting a 360. What is it, a 270? What is it? It's 180, then it's 360. So 180 is halfway, 360 is all the way around. What's 3/4 of the way? 3/4 of the way. So you're seeing 3/4 of each build. So it's not a complete 360. So I didn't have to work on the back. Most of the back walls are going to be pink. But I did have to work on the right-hand side, the front side, and the left-hand side. So, yeah, basically 3/4 of every piece needs to be prepared so that when people are walking around this Detolf, they can kind of see the work and not have it look incomplete. But yeah, man, this is what it looks like in here. And I'm pretty much done. I'll have a bunch of pictures at the end of the video. Check it out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I'm out. Peace.